Hi there. Welcome to Body Basics. This is the first that I'm doing of Body Basics, and it's the Life, Health, and More show that is going to be now twice a week. I'm really excited about that. I'm Karen Sullivan, and I'm a personal trainer who is here to help you learn about your body and lead to perfect fitness for you. Okay? I am really pleased to talk about pain today because I know everybody has it. And I'm a person, I have issues with my body from the working out and the things that we've done. I mean, it happens to everybody. And in this one, we're going to talk about the different kinds of pain, how to identify the cause, and then make the decision based on the symptoms of what you need to do to try and treat it. And when, most importantly, when you need to get help with that. Okay, because you can't just let it go. That doesn't work. That doesn't work at all. I see that there are three different areas where we can have pain. And it's one, the joints. Okay, it can be all in the shoulders, the back, knees, ankles, hips, joint pain. Okay, the second is muscular pain. And that can come from working out. It can come from cleaning the house and being crazy. I had one time where we were moving into a new house, and the doorways and the doors themselves, it had been rented to a family, and I think they'd been there for a really long time, but all around the doorknobs, both inside and outside, in every door in the house, and the door jambs were black, filthy. So I went over a couple days before, and I decided I was going to start cleaning, and I did things around the house. And the day before we moved, I went in and I had a bucket of water and a scrub brush and a rag, and I went in and I scrubbed. And so what I was doing was squats. I think I did 14 million of them. And I went up and down each door jamb all the way around, inside and outside into the rooms, and as well as the door. Needless to say, the next day when the movers came, Karen couldn't move. I was so debilitated. My back was screaming and I couldn't move. I could barely get into the car to go to the new house. And I remember I laid in the corner in the dining room, and you could see when you walked into the house, there was a fireplace over here in the living room, and straight ahead was the dining area and the kitchen, and then it was a split level. I laid on the floor in the corner, and I would tell the people as they came in with a box, that goes the first room on the left upstairs, first room on the left downstairs, that goes here, that goes. And that's how I had to handle it because the muscular aches. And it took a few days for that to get better. Now, the other thing that is very closely related to muscle pain is pain that comes from the fascia, okay? And that is a layer of collagen, actually. It's made of collagen that looks sort of like a spider web, and it's all tubular, and inside there is fluid in there. Now, it's not related to any other kinds of fluids in our body. In and of itself, it has its own fluid layer, and is filled with that, and it connects us all together. It helps, actually goes and wraps around the body in through underneath the skin and before the muscle, and it helps to hold our organs in place. And wait a minute, it's under the muscle, it's under the muscle, and it helps to hold things. But and I'm really not certain of that. All of a sudden, I'm sitting here thinking, wait a minute, no, it's under the skin. So let me backtrack a little bit. And what happens is it helps to just hold us all together. I know that when surgeons are operating, they cut through that as well as the skin layers. If anybody can answer that question for me, I'd appreciate that. And you can private message me. Now, I'm going to go off track here. I have those three things we've talked about, and I have something that's a gift for you if you're able to stay through the whole program, and I would love to give it to you. And I don't want to tell you what it is yet, but here we go. Let's talk about that. So there are three different areas. Now, there are two kinds of pain, okay? You have the normal pain that comes from cleaning, or doing a million squats while you're cleaning the house, or working in the garden, or working in an exercise class. Then you have abnormal pain, and something that is irregular and strange, okay? Now you might want to tag some of your friends and get them to come and see this video. It will be available on Facebook later, and you can watch it in replay, and it will also be posted on YouTube at my YouTube channel. So you can follow me both places, you know, and I don't put everything on Facebook that I put on YouTube, so go check it out. And it's just under Karen Sullivan. Now, with this pain, you can get them from either a sports injury or just, you know, sort of life. You know, doesn't have to be anything spectacular. Doing a lot of walking, doing a lot of hiking, or sometimes doing too much sitting. If you've been sitting at a computer all day, you get your shoulders are all kind of rounded. Now, what's very important is to learn the difference between the normal and the abnormal pain, okay? Now, when you have pain, if it gets better in a couple of days, then you're pretty okay. Whether you've done anything or not, then you think you should be okay. But if it's chronic and it doesn't go away, and you use medication, and if it makes normal pain will go away if you use some medication, or if you use an analgesic, or if you use, we're going to talk about several ways that you can do some body work yourself to help work stuff out. If it goes away, then you can pretty much rest assured that it's not anything more serious. However, worse pain, you know, if you have, for example, an impingement in the shoulder, and I tell people to think of their shoulders, because they're so volatile, that think of them as being like a golf ball sitting on top of a golf tee. And so when we're doing things that are using all of the front deltoid muscle, okay, so that golf ball is on there, and then put all these rubber bands coming out around that golf ball, and it's holding the golf ball on top of the golf tee. That's really in a very rough kind of image and model what the shoulder is like, the rotator cuff, because it's not a ball and socket the way the hip is. It's literally like this. It's held in place. You have the humerus, the arm, then you have the clavicle that comes in, and then you have the scapula, or the shoulder blade. Those are the three muscles, and they're held together by connective tissue. So it's tendons and ligaments, and that's what those rubber bands represent. So if you're working and have, you know, the front muscles are sore and tight, and the ligaments and everything, what it'll do is it will pull that ball, okay, the humerus head, it'll pull it over, and you can get an impingement in there. Not to mention the problems that can happen with arthritic pain that's in it. So the shoulders are a pretty, you know, sensitive machine, and they're not as stable as people might think, which is why when I teach my classes, I ask everybody, okay, we're going to do the medial head, the middle head, the front one, and the back one of that shoulder. We want to work all three and help it to be stabilized so that golf ball stays right on there, because no ball and socket makes you that you can have a problem. Now, if you have a problem, whether it's arthritis or an impingement, oh, wait a minute, how do you know if it's an impingement? Well, I'll tell you. An impingement happens when a nerve is pinched, okay? It's exactly what the word sounds like. If a nerve is pinched, you'll get these little electrical zzzz, you know, whether it goes up the neck or whether it goes down the arm, or the arm gets numb, totally numb. Nothing more miserable. And neurological pain is not fun. It really isn't fun, because you get these jolts and everything that go through. And you also have maybe a little bit of muscular ache with it. So you have to get that answered, handled, okay? Now I'm going to tell you in a little bit the two different ways. You can choose to go to a doctor. I have a doctor who is a sports medicine guy, and I also have a chiropractor, and I work with chiropractors and physical therapists that I can always bounce stuff off of them. But you need to see someone who is responsible for your health when it's something that's more serious like that, just to make sure that there's not anything else going on in there, Okay. The amount of time that you allow that to happen is up to you. And I would say you want to see somebody sooner rather than later. Don't let it go. Okay. We'll adjust that in just a minute. You see all this paraphernalia behind me. I'm going to tell you about that stuff. Okay. So the abnormal pain, when you apply the home treatments that I'm going to talk about, if it doesn't get better or it makes things worse, then you need to see a doctor, most definitely, because you probably have something else going on with, like in the knees, a torn meniscus, or, in the shoulder, you could have a tear or a rotator cuff issue. Okay. So that, I don't want you to act like what I'm teaching you is not something that you do instead of a doctor. I'm trying to teach you discernment so that you can really analyze what's going on with your body and try to figure out what it is. It's sort of, gosh, my toe hurts. Oh, did I stub my toe? No, I didn't stub my toe. Did you drop something on your toe? No, I didn't drop anything on my toe, but the weather has changed and it's very, very cold. And so now I must have arthritis in my toe. Now that's a super simplified analysis, but that's what I'm talking about. Okay. So now you want to figure out about the pain, and I'm going to use myself as an example because I have a history of just being ridiculous with my body and lifting too heavy. So let's talk about my neck pain. I had about 3 years ago, I had an issue where I was in a very stressful situation, and we were moving. My husband was gone for 6 months, was in Atlanta already. I was in charge of getting the house sold, and it was nuts. And so I was really, really stressed out. What I didn't recognize, and I knew that my neck was bothering me, and because I hold all my stress in my neck, and most people do. And so, but I didn't really, in the first place, I was packing and I wasn't taking care of it, and I wasn't applying home remedies. But I remember going to the dentist one day, and he said to me, I said, I have a little pain in this tooth down here. And he said, well, let me take an x-ray. Took an x-ray. Turned out the tooth was really dead. And I was, how does that happen? And he said, are you stressed? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, I noticed some wear on your teeth from clenching my teeth. And he said, probably what's happened is that you have applied so much pressure with clenching your jaw that's what's happened with the tooth. And in the x-ray, the parts of the teeth that come down like that, the root part, they were like disappearing. It was partially, they didn't come down to a point. They were partially gone. So I ended up having to have that tooth pulled, which is really not wonderful. But it was from stress-related tight muscles, and my symptom was that my neck hurt and I couldn't turn. Now, I still have a problem with that. I know now from my sports medicine doctor that it's an issue of an imbalance in strength and weakness in my chest, combined with stress, which I still have, combined with the fact that I work on a computer. And that's what happens. Plus, when I work out and I'm lifting, that's why I said to my class today, this is the international symbol for I have weights in my hands, and I'm telling you to do something, but I'm not going to use the weights because the isometrics that I do when I show you an exercise irritates my neck. So that brings me to my toys. Okay. I have several things. This I want to show you. Okay. When I bring it up close, see all those little knobs in it, and you don't have to get this kind of a thing. And I'll warn you about this one. My son, who works out all the time, recommended that he wanted this for Christmas. That's what it was last year. And I saw it, read about it, and I thought, well, heck, I'm going to get one for myself. Well, it's hard as a rock. I mean, it's harder than a rock, but it's perfect for my body. And so what I do is I lay on the floor, and it fits right in my neck, and I can roll, and then with just moving my head, I can sort of massage and work out the tension that's in the muscle, number one, but in the fascia. Okay, so I know that that's a problem too. Okay, in my neck. So I use those. Now, see behind me, see this wooden thing? I'm gonna grab that. And I just want to tell you, sometimes you will find, this is wood, harder than that thing. And I wanted to tell you, this is great and feels good if you're sitting down and rolling your feet, rolling it under your feet, and it just helps as a nice gentle massage in there. But I have to caution you about these, because anything that's super hard like this can damage the connective tissues, can damage your muscle, can bruise you deep inside. And I say caution, caution, caution. I use this only when I'm seated. I don't stand on it. I have a story about that too. I had a client that complained about her feet, and so I recommended that she use a super ball, a rubber super ball, okay? And that she use it and roll around. And I don't think I stipulated make sure you sit down, but roll it on your foot and do, when you find the area that's sensitive, then just sort of massage it out. And you start at the point where it hurts a lot and sort of do a little pressure, and then you work out from there in either circular motions or, you know, back and forth, okay, across the muscle. So she came to me one day and she said, my foot really hurts. I can barely walk. And so she had some trouble. And I watched her during the workout and I said, I really think you need to go to the doctor. So the next morning she made an appointment, went to the doctor's office, sent me a text with a photograph of her in a boot. And she said, I have a stress fracture. And I said, how did that happen? How it happened was she couldn't find her rubber ball, so she got a golf ball and she worked on her foot standing up. So those nice little delicate bones in her foot, she broke. So be careful when you're using something like this, okay? Now I want to talk about my absolute favorite, which is a tennis ball in a sock. That's all that is. Well, the sock is very stretched out, but this is great too, because you can take it to an office with you. You can drop it behind your back and then just stand against the wall and find your pressure point. It's really good because it kind of fits underneath your shoulder blade. You can get it wedged in there to get the rhomboid muscle. Okay. And that works super. And it's sort of on the go. My husband has a tennis ball that he keeps in the door of his car on the driver's side, so that when he's feeling the burning in his derriere, shall we say, that he can use that when we've been traveling before. Okay. So that is a great thing to use, and you can use it on all parts of your body. It's super for your feet because you can put your foot actually, to put one foot on the sock to hold it, and then rub your other foot on this one on the floor, seated, be seated anyway. And then if it scoots away from you, it won't roll away. You don't have to get up and chase after it. Okay. All right. So now in the foam roller, I'm not going to pick up because I'm afraid I'll knock stuff over, but the foam rollers are also good. That one is a very hard version of the foam roller. They're all over the place. Locally, I've seen them at TJ Maxx. They have a lot of this kind of thing in that store, and you know how they get merchandise, it goes in and out. So I would check there if you need something. Oh, now we want to be gentle and loving to our bodies too. So occasionally you might feel you need ice, you might feel you need heat. And therein lies a quandary. People go, okay, do when you do an initial injury, do you use ice? That's the recommended way to do it. And then afterward, perhaps heat. Now, I like to remember the fact that if you use ice, I know that it calms an area that is irritated. If you have strained or sprained, the ice will kind of take the fire out literally because it's cold. But the reason why I like using ice and then following it with heat is because the ice that you put on it will calm any inflammation or the nerve endings that are just like spazzing out. And then you use the heat, 20 minutes with the ice, 20 minutes with the heat. And the heat pulls the circulation back. And with circulation comes healing. See? So you can try to help yourself that way. Again, if you're doing this and nothing is getting better and it doesn't feel better, you need to have it looked at. Okay? Now, I have a friend that years ago had a terrible car accident, spent a year in a body cast. And she found that the barometric pressure, when a storm was coming in, she could feel it in her body. And she was really in a lot of pain. And that might happen too. You might find that, oh, gee whiz, I really hurt. And today in the class I was teaching, people were saying, yep, here it comes. The cold's whipping in here, and I can feel it in my knee, or I can feel it in my elbow. Okay. So when that happens, then you know that you don't have to run to the doctor. You try to take care of it, putting some heat on it or other things. Okay. So I have this thing. This is wild. This has Velcro. It's very loud, but I love it because it's big, square, and you can either stick it in the freezer, and it has herbs in it. I can smell the lavender, has a little bit of chamomile. Anyway, you can put it in the freezer, and then you wrap it around whatever. Here's pretend this is my leg. And then you can wrap the Velcro and do it. My husband did something with his back when he was cutting the grass about a month ago. And he used this and put it right around his waist. And that just helped him. And he didn't have to worry about if he sat forward and dropping down. So that's kind of a nice thing. I don't know where I got that. But my favorite, all-time favorite is this. My mother got this for me. Look at it. Doesn't it look like an Elizabethan collar? That's what it reminds me of. So it goes around like that. And the same thing. You can put it in the refrigerator or freezer, or you can put it in the microwave. I like it for heat because see how high it comes up here? When my neck is tight, the tension goes all the way up my neck and into my hair, okay? Because that's where the muscles are. So I'll take this, put it in the microwave at 30-second bursts, and I put it in there and fold it in half, and I'll do it like 3 30-second bursts, and then I take it out, turn it inside out, and put it there and let it do another 3. And then it's warm, but it won't burn you when you put it on you, okay? And it will help to get those muscles to relax. It's really just delightful. I have a new client who last night has some issues with her neck and was asking what I did, and I told her about this, and I found that it's also available on Amazon. So if you're interested in knowing how to get one of these, private message me, and I will send you their email address, or web page, okay? So that you can perhaps get one for yourself. It's fantastic. I've started using it after I'm building a new web page. It's lifehealthmore.net, but you can't get to it yet because it's not set up all the way. But when it is, you will know that I spent hours and hours on it because I am not a computer person. I am a fitness person. And sitting at the computer and the tension of trying to do it, and then of course I have, trifocals, so having to look through it like this. Anyway, we've resolved that problem with glasses that are for computer. And so it's just a matter, and then what I do is I use this heated after I've been at the computer. I also restrict the time I'm sitting at the computer. Okay, now these are some of the home remedies. You can also get a massage therapist, and if you're in St. Louis, I have a great massage therapist I can recommend to you. But I also know that we have problems with hands. Everything I said in the description, we're talking about hands to feet. So we've talked a little bit about feet, but I want to talk about hands, okay? This is a cream that somebody made, one of my clients made for me, and it's with shea butter and cocoa oil. But I'm going to use it for this exercise, and if you don't have any cream with you right now, I'm going to massage it into my hands, and then this massage will help, for circulation in your hands, and it'll help even if you have arthritic hands. The one condition is, like, if you can see how my joint is swollen, thank goodness, it's the only arthritic joint I have in my body. So if you have joints that you work around them. And what you're going to do is start to massage the hand. And when you get to the joint, when you get to the finger, do fingers, thumb, finger at a time, you're going to roll around like this and go to the end, and it's then work through the nail and the edge of the finger, and then do a circle in one direction and then a circle in the other direction, okay? And then you'll work each finger. I do the whole, it's like you're trying to wring it out. That's why the cream is nice. And if you do it this way, even an arthritic joint, you won't hurt, okay? And then in between, you can still go in between if your joints are sore. You work all through both hands, and then the backs of the hands. This is the part I love the best too. Then grabbing your arm is straight, and you're going to pull your fingers back. And then I go and I pull my thumb back and push it down. And you'll feel that stretch all up through here and then on the bottom of your arm, that nice stretch. Okay? It's all gentle. But this will help with the pain in your hands. I taught a class at a local church and it was a chair class for the senior citizens at the church. And we did this, and I didn't have any hand cream, but everybody just went ahead and massaged themselves. And after about 3 weeks, and it was just once a week, and one of the ladies came in and she said, I have to make an announcement. And she held up her hand and she made a fist. Well, I didn't really know her. This was a group of people I didn't really know. So it didn't mean anything to me. But the other people in the group exclaimed, oh my goodness, I can't believe, how does it feel? She said, I've been doing the hand exercise every day, twice a day since we started class. And I can now close. Well, it turned out her hands were so gnarled with arthritis that she wasn't able to make a fist. And after 2-3 weeks, she was able to close her hand and open it and did not have the horrible pain that she had had. So I think that you need to remember that there are ways that we can take care of ourselves. And I'm hoping that you will, be able to make some changes in, your care for your body. It's not all about, just how we look, but about how we feel. And when you have things in your body that are taken care of and are not hurting, then we can handle life a little bit better, can't we? Thanks an awful lot. And as a gift for staying on, I have samples of this joint and muscle pain cream that is fantastic, analgesic cream. And you can get, if you're interested in a tube or some of the other products that I have for muscle pain and joint pains, it's available at lifehealthmore.myshaklee.com. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Take care.